Do Android's Dream of Electric Sheep presents a world that, despite its visual differences, is remarkably similar to our own. The author, Philip K. Dick, honors societal traditions by pitting classes against each other. Power and position influence motivation, which leads to the discovery of the sinister workings of society. The novel introduces a world set in 2021, where after a global nuclear war, lifelike human androids are hunted and retired by bounty hunters. This story follows an eventful day in Rick Deckard's life, being tasked with retiring numerous androids, all of the Nexus 6 generation, which is the most realistic human replicant to date. Deckard develops a sense of empathy towards our kind, challenging his beliefs and ideals, coming from a life of work and struggle. To understand the dystopian world of this novel, we must first understand the author's own point of view. Dick often refers to his own life and the struggles that he endured. He didn't have an easy life, with multiple suicide attempts, drug abuse, mystical experiences, and anxiety. His work, more often than not, portrays working and middle-class individuals who suffer from psychological struggles, which is seen through Rick Deckard, the protagonist of the story. Living in a society that doesn't respect him, Deckard wishes that he'd had a horse or any other animal, as they hold a sentimental value that can hardly be achieved in the world anymore. The struggles, psychological and physical, that he encounters in his job as a bounty hunter aren't nearly worth the benefit that is presented to him in the end, similar to those of lower classes in our society. 3 differing classes are presented to us in the book, from characters such as Rick, Eldon Rosen, and J.R. Isidore. John Isidore is part of the lowest class of society. He's bound to ignominious tasks as he failed that IQ test, which is used to determine his worth to society. John makes his living by fixing robotic animals, but day after day, he continues to deteriorate back down the ladder of evolution, as he was left behind by the people who emigrated to other planets, and left him and 1,000 other specials throughout Earth, who are moving towards the ash heap, left by the World War. Our society is built on trust, community, and freedom, which is entirely subverted by this dystopian society presented by Philip K. Dick. How are we expected to trust our society when they leave behind those who aren't able to fend for themselves, or who didn't have any kind of education they needed to pass some IQ test? When trust is broken, both freedom and our sense of community follows. The working class has notoriously worked in less than fair conditions while being underpaid for their hard work. Rick Deckard is no different. His job as a cop, or more specifically a bounty hunter, requires him to retire androids. Living on salary supplies enough for him and his wife to live on, but no more for pleasure or anything considered a luxury in a post-World War setting. Deckard only makes $1,000 apiece for each bounty, which is over and above his salary. He wants a large animal, which not only holds sentimental value, but is also a status symbol among him and his neighbors. But many things have to go right in his line of work. He can't just make 5 of them come here and collect his bonus, due to the low chances of him even encountering them, as there are many other bounty hunters with other police agencies throughout the world. Eldon Rosen represents the upper class of a dystopian society. His own nervousness was the only thing keeping his confidence afloat during his confrontation with Rick Deckard, as he couldn't afford to look weak in front of a lower-class human like Deckard. A dystopian society is often challenged by the book's anti-hero, which in this case is Deckard. Deckard has the power to determine the future of the Rosen Association, which is a powerful, multi-planetary business. The ones who break free from the suppression of society are often those who scare those living in a luxurious life, like Eldon Rosen. Rosen has a very deep connection with the billionaires that live in our own society as well. They both like to attribute their society's progression and success to their own work. For example, the richest people on Earth in our society rely off child labor to produce the goods that they use for their own production. It's truly sinister that this is what our society relies on to progress into the future, which as of now may seem like the future presented in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Just like billionaires of our society are represented in the book by Eldon Rosen, each of the other typical classes that we see in our society are also represented. The Rosen Association boasts their power to Rick Deckard, the working class bounty hunter. They feel as though Deckard would have better luck if the association works in conjunction with him. Their distrust of Deckard, as he could be considered below them, prompts them to keep an eye on him, even as he is unknowingly doing the association's cleanup work. Even those of a lower class, so-called chickenheads, who were cast out by society for not being smart enough nor worthy to continue humanity's legacy and forced to do the grunt work of society through custodial institutions and their special trade skills. Dick explores the challenges that lower classes face in dystopian societies, like the one presented in the book, as well as the society that we live in today. Lower classes are forced to do ignominious tasks that often entail harmful emotional byproducts in order to benefit the overall economy and the larger corporations that are often able to manipulate it. Unfortunately, the lower class is filled with many of those who are born into it. Our society, built upon the constructs of freedom and equality, discourages those who aren't well off and imposes involuntary grunt work that fundamentally keeps our society afloat. An individual in a dystopia may never recognize that the society they live in is in fact dystopian. The success of Dick's work might allow some to view society in a different light, through the mirror that this story places in front of them.